This is my speech that I will present in the Saxony Egypt University on March 27, 2024. This is the advertisement that the university made for my presentation. The subject was SDG6, the key to a sustainable future. I divided my speech into three parts. One of them is an introduction to me, water, and SDGs and SDG6 in particular. The second part about water, culture, and religion. And the third part on water bodies playing cards, which is an innovative teaching tool that introduces students to different definitions of water bodies around the world. I gave every part a different background color. The first is me, water, and SDGs. It includes a very short summary of my traveling around the world, doing research, lectures, and conferences only on water. And then I'm going to speak about three important functions celebrating the Water Day, which is March 27 of every year. Two of them are annual, and one of them is every 3 years, which is a World Water Forum, and my participation in these functions. Then I'm going to talk about the relation between SDG and higher education training that I got in the KTH in Stockholm, Sweden, and then give a glimpse of how I train this subject to university staff in Ain Shams University and outside. And then I will elaborate on SDG 6 in particular, because it is the subject of the speech. These are the countries that I visited, mainly North America and Latin America, and Nile Basin countries in Africa, in Europe many countries, especially Germany, I visited many times, and in Asia I visited many countries, especially in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam, Indonesia, and India, and Japan. The first function is every year, and it's called World Water Week, and it's in Stockholm, Sweden, and this particular meeting that I attended was in 2017. It's established in 1991, is the leading annual conference on global water issues, and is held during the last week of August every year, and was initially part of a public water festival in the Swedish capital, Stockholm. This is me with Stockholm in the background, and this is the sessions that I was chairing, and you can see in the photograph His Excellency the Minister of Water Resources, Dr. Mohammed Abdelati, and international organization experts from FAO and other organizations. The other function was being a member of the Egyptian delegation to the World Water Forum, and it was in Brazil in March 2018. And the forum is held every 3 years, and it has been taking place since 1997. It includes 3-year preparation phase, a 1-week event, and a presentation of results with ongoing support for collective action. This is the place where the forum took place in Brasilia, a very nice conference hall, and this is me. I was attending many sessions and chairing and speaking in other sessions. This is the Egyptian delegation, showing people from Cairo University, from Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, and the National Water Research Center in Egypt. The Cairo Water Week is held annually, and this is just photographs of the 2019 version, but it started in 2018. And this is the advertisement for the Cairo Water Week this year. It will be from the 12th to the 16th of October 2025. This is in 2019 as a date stamp on the photograph, with a session organized by SEU, an organization from Sweden, and we had speakers from Sudan, Indonesia, Egypt, and the United States. This is a photograph with the people from different countries attending the Cairo Water Week 2019. This little video is an interview with Egyptian TV that the Extra News channel was inviting me to speak about the first version of the Cairo Water Week 2018 because I was the head of the organizing committee.
Dr. Ali, as a scientific committee, you told me even before the break that we are a scientific committee formed by a ministerial decision, in addition, of course, to other committees, a logistical committee, and a committee of international experts who deal with the subject as if it is a global or international event. The scientific committee deals with the file and the issues related to the conference. What are the unconventional solutions that you have put forward to deal with the water file, or is it the vision of the Egyptian Experts Committee for the water files and challenges facing Egypt? In fact, the scientific committee, meaning its formation, aims to coordinate the research presented by researchers and design the week's program so that it is in harmony between the sessions that will be in the two ministerial conferences and the youth forum that you mentioned, the submitted research, and we try to put the research that comes to us under these main headings, but you choose the best of course from them, and they are not all presented. They are examined well, and we make a decision whether they are related to the subject, whether it is ours or not, and whether it falls under any of the 5 axes we talked about. We also decide the date and time of the session, and each session will have an international speaker. A world leader will talk to us about the topics before the researchers present their research. Are you still, doctor, accepting research from any researchers? I mean, if someone is watching us now and he has important research in the field of water, he can submit it to you. The door is open. In fact, we had a meeting yesterday, and so far we have received 46 research papers from all over the world, and the time for accepting research papers extends until June 22nd. June 22nd, that means time too. It won't be too long. When did you open the door? You opened it about a month ago or more. Okay, so also for everyone who is seeing us now, what do you mean? Aren't there specific requirements for the applicant? He must be specialized in the field of water, for example, with a collective certificate in the field of water. Or can anyone submit? Anyone who has an innovative idea that includes important research. That would be important to us. It could be any public, private, or foreign university. Exactly, sir. Universities, of course, not but universities are research centers in. There may be some ministries that have some water-related activities, and there may be important research from the experts who work there themselves, or for example, someone may have conducted an important experiment on the ground and its results are useful, and he may come and present it.
Here is the KTH Stockholm, Sweden visit, where I had a training course on the relation between SDG and higher education, and it was in April 2018. And this is the Egyptian delegation, where you can find faculty members from the Faculty of Engineering in Shams University, and there are important people here. One of them standing to my right is His Excellency Dr. Ayman Ashur, Minister of Higher Education, and Dr. Ayman Baha, first row, second from left, is the consultant and of the Minister of Education. I was giving many speeches, especially on SDG6 that we are going to talk about today, and its relation to higher education. This section in this part of the presentation is about the staff training that ASU provides for faculty staff on the subject of Sustainable Development Goals and higher education. This was invited at the Faculty of Agriculture, and this is my routine training. At that time it was face-to-face, and you can find members from different faculties of Ain Shams University. And here we invited the deans of faculties and heads of departments from Galala University to attend my training. At the time of COVID-19, we were all wearing masks. Here are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and every goal has a name and icon, color, and a short title. And we put the goal number 17 in the middle because it's an overarching goal. That's a big umbrella that includes all the goals, because it talks about partnership for the goals. I use this example of Matryoshka, which is a Russian doll, to show that inside the goals you find targets, and inside targets you find indicators. To really understand the articulation of the Sustainable Development Goals, you have to know that there are 17 goals, there are about 169 targets, and about 216 indicators. And this is an example of the text that shows Goal 6 with the title Ensure Availability of Sustainable Management of Water and Sanitation for All. And I am going to read the first target and the corresponding first indicator. By 2030, which is a target year, achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. The indicator 6.1.1, proportion of population using safely managed drinking water services. Here, this slide shows the interlinkage between SDG6 in this particular document that I accessed, and there is two kinds of linkage. One of them is called explicitly linked, and the other one is called substantially linked. And you can find that SDG6 is related to around 4 SDGs explicitly and 6 substantially. Here we look at the global picture. This is most recent information about water situation on Earth, and it says safe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene. Here we stress the issue of hygiene, and we are still out of reach for billions. You can see here, if I enlarge this, that we have 2.2 billion people lacking safely managed drinking water, 3.5 million people lacked safely managed sanitation, and 2.2 billion people lacked basic hand washing facilities. This is related to hygiene. And to the right, we have 2.4 billion people live in water-stressed countries. Water stress is a threshold of the amount of water in cubic meter per capita. And 81% of species dependent on inland wetlands have declined since 1970. And the last indicator is integrated water resources management implementation needs acceleration. If you look here at this pie chart, it shows that 22 countries has substantial progress, 44 is close to target, 55 is limited, and 52 is moderate. Here it's sure it's the rest of the poster, and I talked about that. Here we talk about the SDG targets. There are two infographics. One of them, as you can see, includes the six targets that we talked about in the text we have shown before, 6.1 to 6.6. We are going to talk about them here. As you can see from the infograph, every target is related to certain number of other goals. Like 6.1 is related to 9 goals as shown in this. The icons are a bit different, but they are all illustrative. You can with ease know the name of the goal from the icon itself. Here 6.1 is about safe drinking water, and it's related to 9 other goals, and it says every 15 seconds a child dies from a preventable waterborne disease, and 200 million hours the time women and girls spend fetching water every day. Same comments are for sanitation and hygiene, for water quality, for water efficiency, for water related ecosystems, and for integrated water resources management. Here is the second infograph. It's more elaborate, and it talks about the 5 targets we mentioned before, and it says the linked goals, and it mentions the targets itself. Like, for example, safe drinking water, the linked goals are 1.4 and 2.2, 3.2, 3.3 and 3.8, and 4.1, 4.5, 5.4, 10.3 and 11.1. Here it's more sophisticated because it doesn't mention the target, the goal only, it mentions the target number. And of course there is a description of the current situation in addition to the information, and this goes for the 5 targets: safe drinking water, water related ecosystems, sanitation and hygiene, water resources management, water quality, and water efficiency. The second part of my presentation is about water, culture, and religion. I give it a different background color. I talk about proverbs in Egyptian, English, and German cultures that are related to water, and then I'm going to talk about world religions and its relation to water, and I give my students or the audience a water culture quiz based on the information before. Here is another exercise. It tells the students if you can guess the proverb in Arabic, I mean Egyptian Arabic, that I translated in English here. Like, water doesn't climb to high grounds, blood can never turn into water. And these are famous Egyptian proverbs. As you can see, I only mentioned 2, and the students should find the Egyptian corresponding proverb. These are English proverbs like be in deep water, or be like a fish out of water. And one similar to the one we mentioned in the previous slide, blood is thicker than water. Here, because we are talking to students from a German university, Saxony Egypt University, I have chosen only 4 proverbs in German: ins kalte Wasser springen, the English translation is to jump in cold water. And hier auch nur mit Wasser kochen, and this speaks about ordinary people who are doing the same thing as other people. Here is mit allen Wassern gewaschen, and this talks about a person with different experiences around the world. And the last one on the right, nicht das Wasser reichen können, and these people who are not willing to help other people. And all four selected proverbs have water in them, which is Wasser in Deutsch, in German. World religions, I have chosen 6 of them. Buddhism, and in Buddhism, water is poured and outflows into a bowl placed before the monks. For Christianity, water is linked to baptism. In Hinduism, they have to bathe before entering the temple, and Islam, 5 times a day before prayers they have to do ablution, which is washing the limbs, faces, arms and foot. In Judaism, men attend ritual baths on Fridays, and for Shinto religion in Japan, they consider waterfalls as sacred. And after giving this very short introduction about the relation of water to religion, I'm going to show you the photographs, and students hopefully will know which country or which religion. This is how the 6 religions are distributed in the world. You can see Christianity, and then Islam, and then other religions. This is in terms of geographical areas. Here, we should know very easily that this is Christianity, and this is Islam, ablution, and this is Judaism. This is the Shinto religion in Japan, and this is the Hinduism religion in India, and this is the monk of the Buddhism. The third part of my presentation about water bodies playing cards. This is I invented this innovative teaching tool to introduce my students to the different types of water bodies. But before I'm going to talk about water bodies, I'm going to talk about something that you may find strange, which is the relation between nature and playing cards. There are some similarities. Here we find that we have 4 seasons, and we have 4 playing card symbols: heart, diamonds, club, and spade. The seasons are winter, spring, fall, and summer. Here it shows the names of the different icons. In French, they call it trèfle, carreau, cœur, and pique. In English, we just mentioned. In Arabic, they call it al-kuba, al-bistuni, al-sabati, al-dinari, and they are related to economy in the Middle Ages. And because we always like to think about German culture, here are the 4 icons in the German suits called Herzen, Schellen, Eicheln, und Blätter. The similarity between nature and playing cards that we have, in addition to having 4 different icons corresponding to 4 different seasons, we have 13 weeks per person and 13 cards per each category. And also the number of cards in a deck is 52, and the number of weeks of a year is also 52. And they use a joker. This joker is a wild card which allows it to represent other existing cards to facilitate the game. Here I am going to show a water videos water bodies video that introduces the students simply to the different types of water bodies in a very interesting video.
Today we're going on a global water tour. No passport needed. We're checking out some of the major water bodies and systems around the world. From massive oceans to winding rivers, these water systems are what keep our planet flowing, so let's dive in. First up, let's talk about river systems. Rivers are like nature's highways, moving water from one place to another. But they're not just single streams, they're part of a whole network of smaller rivers and streams called tributaries that all feed into a main river. Take the Amazon River in South America. It's the largest river by volume, and it has thousands of tributaries that flow into it, creating the Amazon Basin. This basin is so huge, it's home to the world's largest rainforest. River systems like the Amazon are crucial because they carry water, nutrients, and even people across large areas. Next, we've got drainage basins. Think of a drainage basin like a giant bathtub. Everything that falls into it eventually drains out through a single outlet, usually a river. A famous example is the Mississippi River Basin in the United States. This basin covers about 40% of the continental U.S., meaning rain that falls in places as far apart as Montana and New York might end up flowing into the Mississippi River. Drainage basins are super important because they help manage where water goes and how it flows, making sure that rivers and lakes stay filled and that we don't end up with too much water in one place. Now, let's splash into lakes. Lakes are basically big bowls of water surrounded by land. They can be fresh or salt water, small or massive. The largest lake in the world? That would be the Caspian Sea. Even though it's called a sea, it's actually a lake because it's landlocked. Another cool one is Lake Baikal in Siberia. It's the deepest lake in the world and holds about 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater. Lakes are important for drinking water, recreation, and they often have their own unique ecosystems. And then there are the oceans. Oceans are the biggest and baddest water bodies out there, covering over 70% of the Earth's surface. We usually break them up into 5 major ones: the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, and Arctic oceans. The Pacific Ocean is the largest. It's so big that it's wider than the moon. Oceans are super important because they regulate the Earth's climate, provide food, and are home to millions of species. Plus, they're key to global trade, with ships crisscrossing them every day. So what's the big deal with these water bodies and systems? Well, they're all connected. River systems feed into lakes and oceans. Drainage basins control the flow of water across land, and oceans connect continents and influence weather patterns all over the world. Without these water systems, life on Earth would be totally different. Probably impossible. That's it for today's geography lesson. Next time you're near a river, lake, or ocean, think about the incredible systems at work and how they're all part of one big watery world.
Then I used a document that contains 48 different types of water bodies, and I summarized the definition of each water body to be only one paragraph, and I put this one paragraph behind the photograph of the water body, and I added 4 wild cards. Why? Because 4, if I add it to 48, I get 52 cards like the one in the typical playing cards deck. How to play? Each player takes 4 cards and then place the rest of the deck on table, and each player tries to combine 4 similar cards or 4 similar water bodies according to certain criteria, and the player can use the wild card to complement the 3 to be able to win, because the player wins when combining 4 similar cards, and one of the rules is only 1 wild card is allowed for each player. These wild cards depends on culture, because the names of water bodies depends on culture. Like for example, in Egyptian culture, irrigation system, we have Gannabiya, Rayah, Miska, and Marwa. These are names of water canals. And we have certain water bodies, many, but two examples are Suez Canal and Lake Nasser behind the High Aswan Dam. In Sudan, the names of irrigation canals can be Abu Sitta or Abu Ashrin, and two important water bodies are the White Nile and the Roseris Reservoir. Here, me showing one side of the playing cards showing the photographs of the water bodies, and the other side include the definition. The reason for designing the water cards like this is the students to read the definition of the water body after seeing the photograph, to deepen their knowledge about how they differentiate and know the different water bodies. The criteria examples using for the game is, one example is to classify water bodies as being an area or line, like you can see in this slide, or classify them as being salt or fresh water, or classify them as being perennial or intermittent. Perennial, you mean water is running all the year, and intermittent mean they run only at different seasons during the year. My concluding remark is I hope that my students in this function at the Saxony Egypt University, they get an introduction of my design to the importance of water. We stress on Sustainable Development Goal number 6, and recognize that water is key to sustainable future. And to explain my point and to deepen the students' knowledge about water importance, I divided my speech, as you have seen, into 3 sections. I started with International Water Days around the world, then the definition and details of SDG6 devoted to water, sanitation and hygiene. And second, I explained the importance of water in culture and religion. And my last part was this innovative teaching tool I give to my students, which is called Water Bodies Card Game, to elaborate on the definitions and importance of different water bodies around the world.